Prologue. For many, New Mexico is the land of enchantment for its breathtaking landscapes, from vast desert plains and rugged mountains to ancient volcanic formations and lush river valleys. For those of us who are in the know, it is when the shadows of evening run long and dark, and the sun dips below the horizon, that the true enchanted nature of New Mexico is revealed. Carried on the wind are the mysterious sounds of the past, and the shadows come alive with movement. Southeast New Mexico is the land of Billy the Kid, the Lincoln County War, and the Apache. People say that despite being shot and killed, Billy still roams the dusty trails. In the Guadalupe Mountains, the native tribe of fierce Apache controlled the peaks and canyons. A collision of cultures occurred in the mid-1800s, with Europeans, Mexicans, and Native Americans coming together. This cultural collision created a culture and cuisine unique to the area. This is my story. I let the screen door of the ranch house close quietly behind me as I walk into the cool night air of the Guadalupe Mountains in southern New Mexico. The American Southwest's dusty, dry air is a welcome relief from the oppressive humidity of a hot Kansas summer. My in-laws' ranch headquarters nestles into the north end of Robinson Draw, a 50-mile drive from the city of Carlsbad. This deep into the mountains when herding cattle on horseback, the only disappointing reminder that the modern world exists is the occasional sight and roar of a jet tracking across the sky. Robinson Draw is a horseshoe-shaped depression in the heart of the rugged mountains, several hundred feet deep with a flat bottom. The walls of the draw rise in a near-vertical rocky bluff around the curve of the horseshoe, tapering down to the level ground as they approach the opened end of the shoe. The ranch house, buildings, barn, and corrals all nestle into the curve and the protection it provides from the elements. By day, the base of the bluff reveals evidence of a long-ago tribe of people sheltering under its protective walls. Overhangs are stained black from the smoke of many past fires. Petroglyphs dot the bottom face of the cliff, interrupted by the occasional pockmark from bullets fired by more modern visitors to the draw. By night, the bluff seemingly comes alive with moving shadowy figures of the past. If a person listens closely, they can hear a language lost in time, drifting on the wind. Unlatching the gate that connects the lawn to the ranch drive, I venture into the darkness, the moonless night surrounding me like a velvet cloak. The crunching sound of the driveway rock moving beneath my feet disturbs the silence of the still air. I hear the soft shuffling and huffing of the horses as they move about the corrals hidden in the darkness at the end of the drive. My destination is a large rock positioned halfway between the edge of the drive and the bluff that rises into the night sky. As I reach the edge of the drive, I briefly consider learning earlier in the day that the local decrease in deer and rabbit population corresponds to an increase in the number of mountain lions in the area. But dismissing the idea that a lion might stalk the dark edges of the headquarters at night, I continue. Reaching the rock, I use it as a seat to settle on. Finding it is still radiating the heat gathered from the afternoon sunshine. The rising warmth is relaxing, and I can leave the nonsense of modern life behind. The warmth and the stillness are so comforting. I find my eyelids drooping lower and lower. The back of my neck tingles. Something is not as it should be. I feel like someone or something is staring at me through the dark. Afraid of what I might see, I slowly open my eyes. Much to my dismay, my vision cannot penetrate the black of night. Concentrating on hearing, I detect the faint sound of the dust being stirred, and soon the earthy smell of the New Mexico desert reaches my nose. The enveloping blackness is claustrophobic, and I yearn for just a little light to reveal the source of my discomfort. Then, sensing unseen movement, I slowly slide off of my seat and prepare myself for a dash to the comfort of the ranch headquarters. Visions of ghostly apparitions cloud my eyes and fog my brain, and out of the confusion, a figure forms. The steely blue eyes harden a familiar boyish face. Where had I seen that face before? His squared toe boots, brown and worn, reached to just below his knees. Tucked into them was a pair of dark wool trousers. Around his waist, a leather belt complete with cartridge loops, holding up an empty holster. His hand hung by his side, gripping a well-used Colt revolver. He had on a blue shirt, with sleeves rolled up at the cuffs, and a tan vest hung loosely. Around his neck, he wore a worn gray kerchief. His hat was tall, with the crown dented on both sides. The brim curved down to shade his eyes from the searing New Mexico sun. I have the sense to realize people haven't worn clothing like this for over 100 years. The figure showed no emotion, but stared at me, and then into the darkness beyond. His eyes return to me, and suddenly he lifts the gun and pulls the trigger. I close my eyes. The concussion and roar of the shot rattle my body, and I expect the shock of a bullet slamming into me. When I open my eyes, I realize I am not in the inky blackness of the night, but lying in bed. Light is just beginning to penetrate the white curtains hanging above my head. I realize my body is tense, and I have broken out in a cold sweat. Slowly, through the fog of sleep, the events of the night seep into my brain. Was it all a dream? Or did I take that ill-advised walk into the New Mexico night? Curiosity is getting the best of me. I climb out of bed and get myself dressed. Tiptoeing to the front door, I let myself out and onto the screened porch. Carefully shutting the screen door, trying not to disturb anyone's sleep, I head for the gate. As I get closer to the edge of the driveway, I notice my footprints in the dust leading towards the rock on which I sat. Moving ahead, my blood runs cold as I spot the large tracks of what can only be a large mountain lion circling the rock. My God, I thought, not only did I make the journey into the darkness, but I realized my greatest fear. Analyzing the view ahead, I can see where something had startled the lion on one of its trips around the rock, and it had bolted away. So very strange what had caused the lion to leave in such a hurry. Moving to where my tracks showed I had stood in front of the rock, I turned to see in the dust the imprint of a pair of square-toed boots. I realize I had not been in the sights of the phantom cowboy, but it was the danger presented by the lion that brought the apparition of the young man out of the darkness, and it was he who caused the lion to bolt into the night. Turning towards the house, I softly say, "Thank you, Billy. You did good." Epilogue. To this day, the dark New Mexico nights make me uncomfortable. It is what comes alive when the sun goes beyond the horizon that causes the land of enchantment to live up to its spooky reputation. That sound you hear in the night might be a coyote or a mountain lion. There is a good chance it is a figure from the past, a warrior, possibly an outlaw. Whatever the case, just know you are not alone.